Hi, and welcome to this presentation of Greentree AutoScan. Today we are going to look at an existing business process, that being the process of receiving and processing supplier invoices. We are going to look at how this process flows through most financial systems today, and then show you how that process is streamlined using Greentree's AutoScan. Firstly, let's have a look at the existing process. First of all, supplier invoices come into the office either via mail or email. Those invoices are received by the accounts payable clerk, who then needs to decide what to do with them. Often that means finding out who's responsible and getting their approval. When they find that person, they'll get them to check the invoice and get them to approve it manually. The invoice then is key punched in to the financial system. The paper copy itself then needs to be stored somewhere, and often this means storing it in a filing cabinet or a file. Of course, over time, this means much space is dedicated to the storage of documents. Sometime into the future, after that process has taken place, it's pretty common that someone may come along and need to see that invoice again, because there's a dispute or a bit of information they require from the invoice. This means they'll come to the accounts payable clerk to get that information. Of course, this means the accounts payable clerk needs to trudge through the files to find the exact invoice the person is looking for, often then taking a copy to give back to that particular person. This in itself can be quite a time-consuming exercise. Now let's have a look at that exact same process using Greentree's AutoScan module. Our supplier invoices come in via the mail, but this time they're punched directly into Greentree. As the user punches them into Greentree, Greentree will either print out a barcode for you to put onto the invoice, or you can have a pre-printed sheet of barcodes so you can stick one on each supplier invoice. The invoices then are taken over to a photocopier scanner for scanning. From that point onwards, it's all automated by Greentree. Greentree will locate that invoice electronically and attach it to the invoice that's been punched into Greentree. Greentree, with the approvals module, will then direct it to the appropriate person for approval automatically. So again, the approval can happen electronically. So, no more manual filing of invoices. In fact, all the invoices now are stored within the Greentree database itself securely. No more having to take up space full of filing cabinets or archives. So, if in future a manager has a query about a particular invoice, there's no need to bother the accounts payable clerk to go and find the invoice for them. They can simply log into Greentree and find it for themselves. Let's have a quick look at how that invoice looks in Greentree. And here we are in Greentree. The user is doing an inquiry here to find supplier invoices. They can filter many different ways. Here I'm going to filter by just one particular supplier. When I do a search, I'm going to see a list of invoices for that particular supplier for all time. If I like, I can double click and drill into one of those invoices. Now I'm going to see obviously the details of that particular invoice, for example its date, who entered into our system, what we actually purchased on the invoice in relation to line items, how many, what the price was, the total of the invoice, but more importantly in relation to AutoScan, we have this icon at the top of our form showing us that there's an attached document. As they click on there, they can see any number of attachments that this invoice may have. In this case it has one, which is the AutoScan barcode attachment, and if they drill into that, they'll actually see the paper copy invoice that came in via the mail and has now been attached to the electronic invoice in Greentree. And even further, if they want to, they can have a look at the approval of the document. So here we can see that this document's been approved. And here we can see who approved it, Amanda and Craig, and when they approved it. So, that's just one example of how Greentree's AutoScan can streamline a process. Another process it is often used for is the scanning of proof of delivery dockets, where Greentree, as it prints a delivery docket, will include a barcode on it. So when the signed copy is returned and scanned, Greentree will marry it up for you against the customer's delivery. Other processes could include employee SIG certificates, resumes, and supplier credit notes. Thank you for watching the Greentree AutoScan presentation.